Now, Epsom wouldn't be complete without a little bit of vino, a touch of sparkling wine here and there, and I've heard it through the grapevine that Nyetimber are here to join the party. And I'm correct, because Sophie Robertson is here, brand ambassador for Nyetimber, alongside Neil as well. Sophie, great to see you. I saw you at the Cheltenham Festival, where you were full of the joys of spring. I imagine similar again today.
Oh, even more so, if anything. We had a little bit of rain earlier, but the sun is coming out, and I think we're all ready for Epsom.
Yeah, we are set fair, and Neil, I can always find you in the Nyetimber tent.
That's me.
I see you've managed to get a bottle again for us.
Well, that's what I like to do, Tom. You know, I know you're really interested as well, which is important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But I do spend quite a bit of time at Nyetimber, has to be said. Sometimes we get lovely cakes as well, like the lemon drizzle cake too. But we have got something we didn't taste at Cheltenham, a wine I really like actually, the Blanc de Blanc.
Okay, lovely.
Yeah, so this is a very special wine for Nyetimber. So we're very privileged today to be trying this. So it's going to be anybody coming to Cedric's as well is going to have opportunity to try with the food too, which we can talk about a bit later. But Sophie, style-wise, because this is 2014, is that right?
We're actually on the 16.
Oh, you're on the 16.
So yeah, we thought there might be a bit of 14 stuff today, but 16 today, and
Okay.
it's drinking so beautifully. So I'm really excited for you to try it.
George was going.
Can't wait to try
Sorry,
it
I mean,
First time.
I've never tried this wine before.
But before you dig in,
Oh,
Neil,
sorry.
Before you dig, just before, I don't know if you want me to say this, but I know that Sophie and her colleagues had a little wager about which wine you
yes,
wanted to taste,
yes.
and one of them got it right, the Blanc de Blanc. I know
Yes,
that.
Emily got it right because we could have had the classic cuvee, the rosé, the 1086, but Emily got it dead right, and I went straight in and said we've got to try the Blanc de Blanc because I do love this wine, 100% Chardonnay, and it does age really, really well. So it's a really interesting wine to taste. Actually,
And I know this sounds really bad,
Well,
but
go for it.
I can't remember what I tasted at Cheltenham.
Oh,
I know that's
yeah,
sacrilege. It's sacrilege, but did we have this? Maybe I'll recognise the taste when I have it.
Well, we actually didn't have this. So you're
Okay,
on
a
it.
few. There you go.
But this is a particular favourite of mine as well. So not that we have favourites at Nyetimber, we love all of our children.
Of course.
But this is a particularly special wine because, as Neil said, quite nostalgic for Nyetimber. We've made it since 1992. It was the first wine that we made at Nyetimber, in fact. It's a vintage wine, so we don't make it every year, only in certain years. And it's actually had 6 years on its lees as well, so quite significant bottle age, which means that we get a lot more texture from it and these lovely sort of brioche pastry notes.
Just quickly, Sophie, what do you mean by lees? Just everybody watching here.
The lees the lees is the yeast inside the bottle. It's typical to champagne methods. So whilst our wines are not champagnes, they're English sparkling wine made in Sussex. They do go through secondary fermentation in bottle, much like a champagne would. So because of that, it spends time on its lees, which is the yeast, and that's why you would describe these sparkling wines as sort of bready, pastry, sort of biscuity, and makes them particularly delicious.
Did you say there were some brioche undertones at the end of that?
Absolutely.
Well, I've got to have a go and dig in, haven't we?
Well,
Neil?
there's been a big build-up. I've really
I'm
enjoyed
not having
it.
any breakfast, so some brioche would be nice.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Let's go.
Yeah, lovely. That's very full and rich. I feel like I try and pretend to know what I'm talking about, but I would say those two adjectives describe it quite well.
You do a great job, Tom.
That was a great job.
How would you describe it, Neil?
The same as you, actually.
Okay, that's good.
No, I think it has got that brioche. It has got that intensity. But also, for me, what you do get on the finish as well is the creaminess from the Chardonnay. And the length of finish, Tom, just one of the things we talk about a lot, don't we, Sophie? It's about length of finish, how long a wine lasts on your palate. And this is lasting a long time. And also, there's just a little bit of acidity there. Well, it's quite a bit of acidity in actual fact, which means this wine's still got loads of time. Would you say?
Agree more.
Yeah.
And I love talking about acidity of English wine as well because it is important. We want it to be refreshing. You want it to be sort of mouth-watering. And yeah, I would say it's refreshing, but it's also, as you said, super rich, super complex, really interesting, and has this wonderful finish, as you said.
Yeah.
What's the process for making a sparkling wine like this one?
A lot of love and care.
I'm sure.
But really, we're making a base wine and we're putting the still wine into bottle, the same bottle it's eventually sold in, and then we're letting it go through a secondary fermentation inside that bottle. So that's why you have a more refined fizz in sort of champagne-style wines,
Okay.
As opposed to what we have for something like a prosecco with what they call an aggressive mousse.
Yeah.
Wow.
That kind. So very fine bubbles, very fine, elegant bubbles, but also lots of texture from that lees aging as well.
I feel like some of these people who describe wines and the way they taste, they're a bit like sort of Charles Dickens types, aren't they? They can really get their descriptive words out, vocabulary, vernacular. It's amazing, I think, that some of these wines can attribute such glorious epithets, really.
Well, I think you were sounding like Charles Dickens, really. yeah, I think you were, really, Tom. I think you were doing that piece. You've answered your own question.
Yeah.
No, but there is a balance here in all of this, excuse the pun, because one of the things is here, people want to sort of, sometimes you want to judge your audience about how much description you're going to give, because it's about making wine sound fun, accessible, not too complicated, and just doing the right amount of facts, as well as having that fun, obviously. And so there are times when you're going to be more elaborate with those descriptions. That's the thing. And I think there's got to be a real balance on that, because sometimes you do get some words that are used a lot, and people are saying, like, minerality. What do you actually mean by that? That's the sort of thing. So it's keeping it, snappy tasting notes at times can be really great.
Yeah, I can believe it. And I'm actually quite interested as well, Sophie. Do you align some of these wines to food? So are there sort of wine pairings that you do?
Yeah, very good question. We love to pair Nyetimber with food. We think it really does belong with food. Obviously, drunk on its own, it's delicious as well. But generally with our classic cuvee, which I'm sure probably people are a little bit more familiar with, it's a little bit more widely available. Delicious on its own, but also fantastic with things like sort of oysters, things like smoked salmon. With the Blanc de Blanc, I think you can go a little bit richer as well. So seafood, fantastic. Anything with shellfish, anything sort of with a beurre blanc sauce, a bit creamy, and you want that richness, that acidity to cut through. So very much food wines. We really do encourage you to play around with those as well.
A beurre blanc with a blanc de blanc. That sounds nice, doesn't it? Neil, I wanted to ask you about the oaks, and I'll also ask Sophie as well. But first up, just your winning selection later. Have you got a fancy?
Well, I'll tell you what. Just before that, Tom. I'll tell you what. Let's the first race of the day, because we've got, and we'll still be here, by the way, you and I and Sophie, because I'm loving this Blanc de Blanc, and I certainly am. But so we've got the Nyetimber race. So Halassan for me, actually, the Charlie Appleby yard there. I think got the right trip today. Second favourite yesterday. I've put Halassan up today. So let's go. We get a good winning start, and I'll come back later there to celebrate. But in the Oaks, Al Wateen for me.
Okay.
Sayed bin Saror, fourth in the 1,000 Guineas. I put her up for that. I thought, importantly, on her second career start at the 1,000 Guineas, she looked really fantastic in the parade ring. Temperament was really good. And if you look at the race IQ data, you're actually, the slowest furlong she did was when she hit the dip at Newmarket. She clearly didn't handle that, and I really think she'll step up. Sayed seems very confident she'll get the trip, and I just think she's going to improve significantly.
Look at that. Beautifully said, isn't it? Have you got a selection at all, Sophie? Have you looked at it?
Neil took the words right out of my mouth.
Okay, there you go. Lovely stuff. Well, Sophie, thank you so much. Really nice to see you again. Lovely to taste such beautiful Blanc de Blanc as well. So, we have been wined with a bit of brioche undertone. Are we going to be dined?
Let's do a cheers for everybody. Cheers.